I believe that we had a hugely successful presidency. We set out with 3 words: strengthen the European Union, prepare the European Union, and protect the European Union. And we managed to accomplish all that we said that we would do. And obviously we were under a lot of time pressure. That was, I think, the main challenge, because the European Parliament was closing for business at the end of April. There were quite a substantial number of important pieces of legislation that needed to be approved before the European Parliament went into the election mode. We managed to get into place the legislation which executed the Migration Pact. The Migration Pact was approved under the Spanish presidency, but then, all the elements of the Migration Pact needed to have the legislation to put it really in, let's say, to make it operational. So that is, I think, one of the most important pieces of legislation that we pushed through. The second, obviously, and this is then for the Western Balkan countries, the most important part is the growth facility that we managed to have approved also in the trilogue with the European Commission, the European Parliament and the Presidency. It was approved in April, and then it came into force in May, which now allows us to carry out this growth plan on the basis of the reform agendas that the candidate countries have submitted or are still in the process of submitting. And then there were 78 pieces of legislation in total that we pushed through. For example, the Artificial Intelligence Act was one of the important parts, but also a wide array in different fields, because the European Union is basically working on so many different topics. And that is, I think, the biggest success is that we did manage to get the legislative work taken forward. The Hungarian presidency is basically, continuing the work, because, as you know, the program is always made in trio. So Spain, Belgium and Hungary made a joint program with joint priorities, and then every presidency takes forward this trio program. For Hungary, the priorities are well known. It's basically, the same priorities as we had, with other accents, obviously. Each presidency puts its own accents, so its own emphasis on certain parts. So we do know that the Hungarian presidency will also continue to take the enlargement process forward. That was really, kind of, a new, dynamic that was created as there are in general also a lot of meetings taking place in Brussels, at which the members of the Serbian government are taking part. It is also very customary that bilateral meetings take place in Brussels. So then in April this year, we had our ministries of foreign affairs have a memorandum of understanding, and we hold bilateral political consultations. So I had a whole delegation from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs here in April. There are no contentious issues between our countries. So our business relations are very good. We have about 30 to 40 investors here. So we're very proud of that. And if you also, for example, in agriculture, your country has still a very significant agricultural production. When you eat frites, one of our national dishes, the chances are that the frites are made with Serbian potatoes, which is unbelievable. So yes, the bilateral relations are, I would say, very, very good. Well, Serbia is making progress, obviously, in its EU accession track. we all admire the endeavors that are being done by the Serbian government, especially by the Ministry of European Integration, to work on the different chapters which are already open and which are in negotiation. Obviously, the Growth Pact, Serbia already presented its reform agenda to the European authorities in Brussels. So this reform agenda will be, a very important and solid instrument to take the enlargement process forward, because the Growth Pact, based on the reform agenda, its aim is to, accelerate the process for the candidate countries in their EU accession track. What strikes me is that there can be more communication to the people on where the country is making progress. So the communication is very important to tell people exactly what this accession process is about, because it's very technical, and the moving towards our shared values is important to be made more explicit. There's European money invested in Serbia in many different areas, even in, for example, primary care facilities throughout the country. So this is a very positive story that we have together, and the acceleration will come from the willingness of the Serbian government to go with us into all these projects and improve, let's say, the way of living over here. Obviously, there's also the work on democracy, because we share values. In the European Union is a project of values, of a common future. So there needs, rule of law is important. So there also steps need to be taken in order to accelerate the process even more. And we are there to support Serbia in its European Union track. Well, you cannot change a culture. It's the same if I were to go back to Belgium in 1996 mentally, the culture remains the same. We still, like in Belgium, are, at 11 o'clock in the morning, they would offer you, would you like to have something to drink? And they would immediately say, would you like to have a beer? It would still be the same in 1996 as it is now. There's a lot more exposure now. There's a lot more integration into, with other European countries in Serbia. There are a lot more foreign companies here. The city has grown tremendously. And so, yes, of course, each country changes over the years, especially, in a time span of 25 years, a country changes fundamentally. But the people are still the same. The warm-heartedness, for example, the talking to each other, the coffee tradition, the moment that the first sun comes out, you can sit outside on a terrace. That was the same back then as well. Well, Serbia is obviously in the framework of this EU accession process, is obviously already making a lot of effort in diversifying energy resources, get away from fuel and coal, and invest more in wind energy, solar energy. Still, a lot can be done. And this is one of my own pet subjects, because I try to do everything by bicycle. I think that, if we want to take green transition, is about many things. It's about climate change and climate mitigation elements, but it is also about transportation. It's about health, pollution, how to reduce the pollution. So you touch upon different subjects. We have to convince the people that if we want clean air, if we want to, actually pay attention to our health, we also have to take certain, measures and then to, change a bit our behavior